All right, so we're diving into crypto today.
Uh-huh.
Specifically, this idea of like holding on to it for years and years.
Long haul.
Yeah, exactly.
Long-term crypto.
It can be pretty wild out there.
It can.
And you're trying to figure out, does this actually make sense
Yeah.
to have this as like a part of your, serious part of your portfolio
Mhm.
for a long time, right?
Yep.
So we've got a bunch of stuff here. We've got articles, we've got research, we've got all your notes.
Yeah, we've got a lot to unpack.
So let's like try to figure out if this is really a good idea or not.
Absolutely. It's a smart move to be cautious.
Right.
A lot of people get caught up in the hype,
Yeah, for sure.
but that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're here to kind of cut through that.
Why are we even talking about long-term crypto?
Right.
It's so volatile. It's, everyone thinks about it as like a quick win,
Right.
not like a long-term strategy.
It's true. It's true. Crypto has this reputation, for being a bit of a roller coaster ride.
Mhm.
But I think beyond just, those headlines and the get-rich-quick stories.
Yeah.
There's a really strong argument to be made for a more long-term approach.
Okay.
We're talking about a technology here
Yeah.
that could potentially completely revolutionize how we think about finance.
Okay, let's talk about that. You mentioned blockchain.
Yeah.
So from what I've read, it's kind of like the internet in the early days,
Yeah.
where everyone was talking about it, but nobody really knew how it was going to play out.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Think about how the internet has completely transformed, the way we communicate, the way we buy and sell things, the way we entertain ourselves.
Entertainment, yeah.
Blockchain has that same disruptive potential.
Okay.
And I think, especially when you think about the world of finance.
So investing in crypto is almost like investing in the early internet,
Mhm.
where you're betting on the potential,
Exactly.
not just like the individual coins themselves.
Precisely.
Oh.
And just like any early stage technology,
Mhm.
there are risks.
Of course.
But for the long-term investors,
Yeah.
the potential rewards could be huge.
I see the appeal, especially like you look at how traditional markets have been doing.
Right.
It's all about diversification, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
Not putting all your eggs in one basket, as they say.
Diversification is key.
Mm-hmm.
Crypto, with its decentralized nature, offers a really interesting potential hedge
Okay.
against traditional market fluctuations.
Mm.
And even, we've been dealing with a lot of inflation lately.
Yeah.
It's like having a separate life raft
Yeah.
if the main ship starts to sink.
Okay. I like that visual.
Yeah.
But I got to ask, most people think about the idea of their money working for them,
Right.
even while they're sleeping,
It's,
right?
passive income.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've heard about this whole passive income thing with
Mhm.
crypto. Is that real?
It is real.
Okay.
It sounds kind of futuristic,
Mm-hmm.
but mechanisms like staking and yield farming really do allow you to have your crypto holdings generate income.
Okay, those sound a little intimidating.
Sure.
Can you break those down for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like with a real world example or something?
Sure. Imagine that you own a piece of land
Okay.
and you decide to rent it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what staking is.
Okay.
You're locking up your crypto to help support the network,
Mm-hmm.
secure it, help it operate.
Okay.
And in return, you're getting rewarded with more crypto.
So it's kind of like you're getting rent payments.
It is like rent payments.
Okay.
Yield farming is a little bit more like if you became a lender
Okay.
in a decentralized financial system.
Gotcha.
So you're providing your crypto as liquidity,
Okay.
and you're earning interest or fees based on, how much you're putting in.
So it's like being a micro banker.
It is kind of like being a micro banker in the crypto world.
But, okay, I can't stop thinking about those price swings.
Yeah.
Like how do people stomach that
Right.
and still think long term?
Yeah, you're right. The volatility is definitely a big thing to consider.
Yeah.
And it's not just random fluctuations either.
Mm-hmm.
There are underlying reasons why crypto markets are so sensitive.
Okay, so help me understand that. Why is crypto so much more volatile than like the stock market?
Well, first of all, crypto is still a relatively young market,
Okay.
especially compared to traditional financial systems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's largely unregulated.
Okay.
So that means it's much more susceptible to speculation
Gotcha.
and even manipulation.
So more risk, but more reward.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you have this constantly evolving regulatory landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Governments all over the world
Yeah.
are still trying to figure out how they should approach crypto.
Right.
And all of that uncertainty
Yeah.
can really impact, how people feel about the market.
Yeah.
And it can really drive volatility.
It's a moving target.
It is. It's
Yeah.
like trying to hit a moving target.
Yeah. But okay, so for someone thinking long term, how do you actually like practically deal with this volatility?
You got to have nerves of steel.
Okay.
Emotional decision making is your enemy when you're in this space.
Yeah.
Don't panic sell just because things are dipping.
Right.
And don't just jump in, FOMO into something just because it's pumping.
Yeah.
You really need to stick to your research.
Okay.
Have that long-term vision.
Yeah.
And ride out the waves.
That's good advice for life in general, I feel like.
It is.
But it's not just volatility, right? There's
Right.
also the whole security aspect.
Absolutely.
You hear these horror stories about like hacks and people losing their keys.
Yeah, you have to. Security is paramount.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've seen these high-profile hacks
Yeah.
and scams.
Mm-hmm.
So you really need to treat your crypto like it's digital gold.
Okay.
Choose reputable exchanges.
Great.
Use strong passwords.
Yeah.
Enable two-factor authentication. And you should seriously consider getting a hardware wallet
Okay.
to store your keys offline.
So it's like having a digital fortress
It is. It's like having a fortress for your crypto.
for your crypto.
Yeah.
And you brought up something earlier, too, that I think is really important.
Yeah.
This idea of like market maturity.
Mm.
Not all crypto projects are created equal, right?
No, they're not.
Like, how do you, as an expert?
Well, the crypto market is very much still in its Wild West phase,
Okay.
which is exciting.
Yeah.
But it also means that a lot of projects are probably going to fail.
Yeah.
Poor management,
Mm-hmm.
lack of adoption.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just outcompeted.
Okay.
These are all things that you need to think about.
So how do you sift through all the noise and figure out like, okay, is this a winner or is this not?
It's true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype out there.
Yeah.
So I always come back to the fundamentals.
Okay.
Does the project have a solid team?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a clear vision?
Yeah.
Is there a real-world use case
Like-
for their technology?
Yeah.
Do they have a track record of actually delivering
Mm-hmm.
on what they're promising?
It's like building a superhero team.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Each coin is like, it has its own little superpowers.
Yeah.
And potential.
Uh-huh.
But you need to assemble the right team
You do.
to succeed in the long run.
That's what we're going to talk about next.
Right.
Actually building that long-term portfolio.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right. So we kind of laid the groundwork, why long-term crypto might make sense,
Yeah.
what the risks are, how to be smart about what projects you actually pick.
Right.
But how do you actually go about building a portfolio
Yeah.
that can last for, years?
That's a great point.
It feels like you're on shifting sand all the time.
It is a constantly shifting landscape.
Yeah.
So having a really solid strategy
Mm-hmm.
is super important.
Okay. So what is step one?
Step one is you need to get knowledge.
Okay.
Knowledge is your superpower
Okay.
in this space.
So more than just like what Bitcoin is.
Yeah, you got to go deeper.
Okay.
You really need to understand how blockchain works,
Mm-hmm.
understand the different types of cryptocurrencies
Yeah.
and what their use cases are.
Okay.
It's like learning the rules of the game before you start playing.
Okay. So where do you even begin with all that?
Right.
It feels like there's so much information.
There is.
How do we even know where to start?
There is a ton of information out there. And to be honest, not all of it's reliable.
Okay.
So I always tell people, stick to the reputable sources.
Okay.
Stick to websites like CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, The
Yeah.
Block.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good track record of being accurate and unbiased.
Okay. Those are good starting points.
Yeah.
What about social media?
Social media is a double-edged sword
Yeah.
because it can be a really great way
Okay.
to kind of get the temperature of the community
Yeah.
and kind of stay up on the trends.
Yeah.
But you have to be so careful because it's also just a breeding ground for misinformation and hype.
So double check everything.
Always double check what you see on social media.
Gotcha.
And remember that influencers
Yeah.
oftentimes have their own agendas.
Yeah.
They might be pushing something because they're invested in it
Right.
or, whatever it might be.
So don't just follow the crowd.
Don't follow the crowd.
And take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with those like flashy promises.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other advice for like navigating that information overload?
I think finding a community that you trust
Okay.
is really important. So
Okay.
join some reputable forums,
Mhm.
Discord servers, Telegram groups,
Okay.
whatever it might be,
Yeah.
that are, focused on maybe a specific cryptocurrency or a project that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn a lot from other experienced people in those communities.
So it's like having a crypto mentor.
It's like having a mentor,
Yeah.
but also you have to think for yourself.
Yeah.
You can't just blindly follow what everyone else is saying.
Right. Right.
You have to do your own research.
What about like those big events you talked about?
Yeah.
Like protocol upgrades or like shifts in regulation.
Yeah, those are really important to keep an eye on.
Okay, so how do you do that? How do you stay on top of that?
So a couple things you could do is subscribe to some good newsletters,
Okay.
maybe industry podcasts,
Mhm.
set up Google alerts for certain keywords or phrases
Okay.
that you know are related to what you're interested in.
Gotcha.
That way you're going to be notified whenever something happens,
Okay.
like a breaking news story.
So filter the noise coming at you?
Yeah, it's about being proactive, not reactive.
Okay.
Instead of just waiting for something to hit you,
Gotcha.
you're actively seeking out the information that
Okay.
you need.
But this learning takes time.
It does.
How do you balance that with actually, starting to build your portfolio?
Yeah, you can't be stuck in learning mode forever. So once you've got, a good foundational understanding,
Mm-hmm.
it's time to move on to step 2,
Okay.
which is all about defining your strategy.
Okay, so what does that actually look like?
This is where you have to do some, honest introspection.
Okay.
What are your financial goals?
Yeah.
What's your risk tolerance?
Mm.
And how much of your overall portfolio
Okay.
are you actually comfortable allocating to crypto?
Yeah. So this is where we get real with ourselves
This is where you get real.
and figure out what we can actually handle.
Exactly. And remember, this is a long game.
Yeah.
We're not talking about going all in on something because you think it's going to pump this week.
Yeah, right.
We're thinking about projects that have that long-term vision
Yeah.
and fundamentals.
But that's hard when you see people making those gains.
I know, it's hard.
Like right now,
It is hard.
it's like, oh, man.
But that's where discipline comes in.
Okay.
Having that long-term mindset helps you to kind of ride out those inevitable dips,
Yeah.
that we know are going to happen.
So patience is key.
Patience is definitely a virtue
Okay.
in this space.
Gotcha. So step 3.
Step 3 is you got to choose the right platform
Okay.
for buying, selling, and storing your crypto.
So this is where we actually put money down.
This is where it gets real.
Yeah.
It's just like you wouldn't keep all your savings under your mattress.
Right.
You need to have a secure platform,
Yeah.
a reliable platform to manage your crypto.
So a good exchange
Finding a reputable exchange is key.
is like the most important thing.
It is absolutely one of the most important things.
Okay. So what should people be looking for?
Security is paramount.
Okay.
You want an exchange that has a strong track record
Yeah.
in terms of security.
Yeah.
They should have strong security measures in place,
Mm-hmm.
things like two-factor authentication.
Okay.
And you want a platform that's user-friendly. You shouldn't have to feel like you need a PhD in computer science
Right.
to figure out how to use the platform.
And there's different types of exchanges, right?
You're right.
I think I've heard of like centralized and decentralized.
Yeah, you have centralized exchanges,
Okay.
which are kind of more like your traditional brokerage platforms.
Okay.
And then you have decentralized exchanges,
Mm-hmm.
which offer a lot more privacy
Okay.
and control over your assets.
Yeah.
But they can be a little bit trickier
Yeah.
to use.
So do your research, figure out what's right for you.
Exactly.
Okay. And then once you've got the exchange,
To forget about storage.
you mean like hardware wallets?
Yes,
The
those little devices
Yeah.
that are
Like
like,
digital fortresses.
it's like a safe for your crypto.
for your crypto.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got our knowledge. We've got our strategy.
Yeah.
We've got a secure platform.
Uh-huh.
Now the fun part, picking the coins.
This is where it gets
It's
interesting.
step 4, right?
This is step 4.
Okay.
It's all about diversification.
Our superhero team.
Back to the superhero team.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want a team of superheroes that all had the same superpowers, would you?
Probably not. No.
No. You need a mix of strengths
Yeah.
and abilities
Mm-hmm.
to overcome different challenges.
Yeah.
It's the same with your crypto portfolio.
Okay.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Okay.
Spread your investments across different cryptocurrencies
Okay.
that have varying levels of risk
Yeah.
and potential.
So how do you actually choose which superheroes go on the team?
I think you want to start with a solid foundation.
Okay.
So, Bitcoin and Ethereum
Yeah.
are often considered the cornerstones of a well-diversified portfolio.
Okay.
They have the largest market caps,
Right.
the most established track records,
Yeah.
and really strong communities of developers and users.
So they're like the veterans.
They're the OGs
Yeah.
of the crypto world. From there, you might want to allocate a portion of your portfolio to altcoins,
Okay.
which are cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay. Altcoins.
Yeah. And some of these have really innovative use cases.
But there are thousands of them.
There are thousands of them.
How do you pick?
This is where that research and due diligence that we talked about earlier
Yeah.
really come into play.
So don't get blinded by the hype.
Don't get blinded by the hype.
Okay.
Look for projects
Yeah.
that have a solid team,
Mm-hmm.
a clear vision,
Yeah.
a well-defined use case,
Correct.
and a track record
Mm-hmm.
of actually delivering.
Okay, so this is not easy.
It's not easy.
So how do you personally avoid that FOMO?
Well, nobody's immune to it.
Yeah.
But one strategy that I found really helpful
Okay.
is dollar cost averaging.
Okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Break it down for me.
So instead of trying to time the market
Okay.
and invest a lump sum all at once,
Mm-hmm.
you invest a fixed amount
Okay.
at regular intervals,
Gotcha.
no matter what the price is.
Okay.
So you might decide, for example,
Yeah.
I'm going to invest $100
Mm.
every week
Yeah.
in Bitcoin,
Okay.
whether the price is up or down.
So it's like setting up a recurring payment,
It is like setting up a recurring investment,
but for crypto.
but for crypto.
Okay.
And what that does is it takes the emotion out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you to average out your purchase price
Yeah.
over time,
Okay.
and it smooths out
Yeah.
those volatile swings.
So be disciplined and consistent.
Discipline is your best friend
Okay.
when you're in the crypto world.
Gotcha.
Consistency is also super important.
All right. So we've got our knowledge, our strategy.
Right. Yeah.
We've picked a platform.
Uh-huh.
We've got our diversified portfolio.
Yep.
What else is there?
You need to monitor your portfolio,
Okay.
and you need to be ready to adjust your strategy.
Okay. So what does monitoring actually involve?
It's more than just watching the charts
Okay.
every day and freaking out if things go down.
Right.
You know, it's about staying informed
Okay.
about what's happening in the market.
Yeah.
What are the trends?
Mhm.
What's the news?
Yeah.
You know, what are the developments that are related to the cryptocurrencies that you've invested in?
So you're not just like setting it and forgetting
You
it?
can't just set it and forget it.
Gotcha.
You got to stay engaged
Okay.
because things change so quickly in the
Yeah.
crypto world.
So how do you stay informed? How do you adapt?
I think a lot of it comes back to what we talked about earlier.
Okay.
You know, relying on those reputable news sources,
Right.
being active in those communities
Yeah.
that you trust,
Okay.
keeping an eye on, you know, those major events
Yeah.
that could potentially impact the market.
So treat your crypto portfolio like a garden
I love that analogy.
that you have to tend to
Yeah.
and be ready for like the changing seasons.
You got to nurture it.
Yeah.
You got to be prepared to make adjustments.
And speaking of new developments, our source material mentions something that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
NFTs.
NFTs.
Where do those fit into all this?
So NFTs, or non-fungible tokens,
Yeah.
they are a fascinating,
Yeah.
rapidly evolving part
Yeah.
of the crypto world.
Okay.
They represent digital ownership of unique assets.
Okay.
Things like digital art,
Okay.
collectibles,
Mm.
music, virtual real estate, you name it.
So it's like having a digital deed
It's
to something that exists online.
like a digital certificate of authenticity
Yeah.
for something that exists in the digital realm.
But they've exploded recently.
They have.
Some of them sell for millions of dollars.
It's crazy.
Or are they just a fad?
You know, it's still early,
Yeah.
but I think NFTs have the potential to revolutionize how we think about ownership and value in the digital world.
Like, okay, my brain is starting to melt a little bit.
I know it's a lot.
Like, what does that even mean?
It is a lot to wrap your head around.
So for someone who wants to explore this,
Yeah.
where do they begin?
The good news is there are a ton of resources out there.
Okay.
Websites like OpenSea Rarible,
Mm-hmm.
those are really popular marketplaces for buying and selling NFTs.
Okay.
There are tons of articles and videos and podcasts out there that explain NFTs.
So do your research. Check out those marketplaces. See if
Yeah.
it aligns with, your goals, your risk tolerance.
Exactly. And all of those principles
Yeah.
of patience, discipline, and due diligence that we
Yeah.
talked about,
Mm-hmm.
they apply even more so to NFTs.
So don't let FOMO
Don't FOMO into NFTs.
dictate your purchases.
No.
Right.
Make smart, informed decisions.
It seems like no matter what we talk about, we come back to patience and discipline.
It's true. Those are the recurring themes
Yeah.
in this space.
Yeah.
And it makes sense
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about a technology that's so new
Yeah.
that has the potential to completely change the world.
Totally.
These things take time.
See the forest for the trees.
See the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get caught up
Yeah.
in that day-to-day noise
Mm-hmm.
and lose sight of the bigger picture.
Right. And crypto's still so young.
It is. We're just at the beginning of
Yeah.
this journey.
Like the early internet.
It's like the early internet.
Yeah.
You know, lots of excitement,
Mm.
lots of uncertainty,
Yeah.
and a ton of potential.
Yeah.
And just like the internet, transformed how we live and work and connect.
Yeah.
Crypto has the potential to transform
Yeah.
countless industries
Mhm.
and aspects of our lives.
But these things take time.
It takes time.
So be optimistic,
Be optimistic,
but also realistic.
but also realistic.
Okay. So patience, discipline, and belief in the tech
Those are the guiding principles
are the guiding principles.
for long-term crypto investors.
Awesome.
So as we're wrapping up this part,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Crypto is more than just an investment.
Okay.
It's a cultural phenomena. It's a technological revolution.
Wow.
It's a movement that's challenging traditional systems
Yeah.
and empowering individuals in ways that we've never seen before.
That's powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Okay. So as we head into the final part of this,
Yeah.
what can I expect?
So we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and explore the broader implications
Gotcha.
of crypto
Mm-hmm.
and its potential impact on society.
Okay.
What are the ethical considerations?
Yeah.
What does the regulatory landscape look like?
Yeah.
What might the future hold for this technology?
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there,
Okay.
and we will be back for part 3.
Okay, we are back for the final part
Final part
of this deep dive.
of our crypto deep dive.
We have covered so much,
ground.
but now we're going to zoom out a little bit.
Zoom out, big picture.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
look at the impact this whole crypto thing could have
Yeah.
on society as a whole. Yeah, let's talk about that.
So, ethical concerns, regulations,
The future.
the future of all this. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so easy to get caught up in, the specifics of it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, am I picking the right coins?
right.
Am I building a good portfolio?
Am I managing my risk
Yeah.
properly?
Yeah.
All of those things are important.
But it's more than just, making money.
It's more than just making money.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like, at its core, it's about...
I think it's about decentralization.
Okay.
It's about transparency.
Mm-hmm.
It's about giving individuals more control
Okay.
over their assets,
Yeah.
over their data.
I mean, we've talked about how blockchain is being used already, like
Right.
supply chains,
Yeah.
voting,
Yeah.
art authentication.
Authentication. Yeah.
Is this like a sign of things to come?
I think so.
Is blockchain going to be in like every part of our lives?
I think it's headed that way.
Okay.
We're really just starting to understand
Yeah.
how powerful it is
Yeah.
and the potential it has.
So imagine a world with no data breaches.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That'd be fantastic.
Instant and secure transactions,
Mhm.
more transparency
Yeah.
in everything from how our government operates to,
Yeah.
how our supply chains work.
It sounds very efficient and like fair.
Yeah, in theory,
In theory, yeah.
it does sound pretty great.
But like any technology,
Right.
it's not all perfect.
No technology's perfect.
Right. There's got to be some downsides.
There are always downsides.
So what are the challenges that come with this?
I think one of the biggest concerns right now
Yeah.
is the environmental impact.
Okay.
Certain cryptocurrencies,
Mm-hmm.
particularly Bitcoin,
Yeah.
use a lot of energy for mining.
Yeah.
And that's raised concerns about, their carbon footprint.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of ironic, right?
It is a little ironic.
This tech that's supposed to be the future
Right.
is potentially hurting the planet.
But the good news is the industry is aware of this.
Okay.
And there's a big push
Okay.
to move towards more sustainable options.
So eco-friendly crypto.
Eco-friendly crypto.
Okay.
That's definitely something we're going to see more of.
What else?
I think another ethical consideration is the potential for misuse.
Okay.
Because crypto offers a certain level of anonymity,
Yeah.
which can be good in some ways,
Yeah.
but it can also make it attractive
Mhm.
for people who are doing illegal things.
It's like the dark side of crypto
It's the dark side.
that you hear about.
It's there.
Like money laundering,
Yeah.
illegal activities.
Ransomware, all that
It
stuff.
can be unsettling.
It's unsettling.
Okay, so that leads us to like the big question.
Regulations.
Yeah.
Governments are still trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, so what are the big issues there?
I think the first hurdle
Okay.
is, how do you even classify crypto?
Right.
Is it a currency? Is it a commodity? Is it a security?
It's like none of those things.
It's kind of like all of them.
Yeah.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, so how do you define it?
Exactly. And that has huge implications for
Yeah.
how it's taxed, how consumers are protected,
Mhm.
how we prevent money laundering.
Right.
It really impacts how the whole industry is going to grow.
So that's a big one.
That's a big one.
What else?
And then on top of that, you have the challenge of
Yeah.
trying to strike that balance
Okay.
between encouraging innovation
Yeah.
and protecting investors.
Yeah, because you don't want to stifle
Right.
the growth.
Too much regulation
Yeah.
can stifle things.
But also you don't want people getting taken advantage of.
Right. You don't want investors to be vulnerable to scams and fraud.
So where do you think this is all headed?
It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
Things are changing so quickly,
Yeah.
but I think we're going to see more clarity
Okay.
and consistency
Okay.
in the coming years.
So regulation is coming.
Regulation is coming.
Okay.
Governments are starting to understand that crypto is here to stay, and they have to figure out a way to deal with it.
So how do people stay informed about all this?
Keep an eye on reputable industry publications.
Okay.
You know, there are legal experts out there.
Yeah?
Organizations like the Blockchain Association,
Mm-hmm.
they provide a lot of good information
Yeah.
about these changes and how they might impact you.
So once again, stay informed, be ready to adapt.
Yeah, it all comes back to that.
Yeah, crypto is wild.
It is a wild world,
But for people who are,
but it's exciting.
it is exciting.
It can be incredibly rewarding.
If you're willing to put in the time
If you're willing to do the work,
to learn.
absolutely.
Well, so I think it's time to wrap up
Yeah.
our deep dive.
Our crypto deep dive.
We've covered so much,
A lot of information.
but we've barely scratched the surface.
Barely scratched the surface.
So hopefully this gives you a good foundation
Yeah, a good starting point.
to learn more,
Yeah.
explore,
Keep learning.
do your own research,
Absolutely. Find sources that you trust.
find good people.
Connect with the community.
Yeah, and be open to learning new things.
Yeah. Never stop learning.
Remember, be patient, be disciplined,
Right.
be a little bit skeptical.
Healthy skepticism.
Yeah, and be open-minded.
Yeah. Be open-minded,
Those are good words to live by.
especially in the crypto world.
It has been a pleasure
The pleasure was all mine.
learning about all this with you.
Yeah, it's been fun.
All right, until next time.
See you next time.